What's up, man? This is Jason Brown from the band Cycotic Youth, coming to you from the west side of Los Angeles. Yeah, man, just happy to be here, dude. How are you, man?
I'm good, thanks, Jason. And yourself?
I'm good, man. Good. Can't complain. Weather's 70 degrees, nice and sunny. California, you know how we do it.
Like, as you can see by my beautiful Fender Christmas jumper, it's bloody cold where I am. It's about 4 degrees.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So firstly, mate, I got to say welcome back, bro. Like, a lot's changed since Cycotic Youth were last with us.
Yeah, man. It's been 30 years since we put out a record. We have one circulating now, but basically what it was, it's a bunch of our old recordings and some unreleased demos that a label out of Seattle put together for us called punkrecords.net. And it was a friend of ours, big punk rock guy, and he decided to put it out for us. And he goes, basically, I'm just going to press it, give you guys half of the copies, and you guys do what you want with it. So we were good with that, and we kind of circulated it around a little bit. And about 6 years ago, we were asked to do a reunion show for a friend of ours who was sick. And so we got the band back together minus one original member, but the other members really hadn't played in a long time. So it was kind of a shit show, but, you know, everybody was so wasted, nobody cared, and they just thrashed the place. And it was good. And we didn't expect to get a response that we did from a lot of people. And we just started asking to do shows again. And so what we did was we got some new players in the band. Me and my brother were the original members. We got some new players in the band, started doing shows again, started generating a following. And with that lineup, we decided to go into the studio and record a new full-length album, 12 songs, which we did. But at that time, when we were doing pre-production, my brother had some personal issues that he had to deal with. So we ended up quitting the band. And the producer and engineer at the time that was doing the album is Nick Jett from the band Terror, LA hardcore band. And he's the drummer. So he decided, you know what, I'll just play drums on the record. And here we are, man. It's probably the best stuff I've ever done. I've been doing music since I was 15. And we got some guys in the band, a guy named Nick Garcia, who's an excellent guitar player, young guy. Shit, most of the dudes in the band are half my age except our bass player. This guy named Mikey Beto, he's from New York, the New York hardcore scene. He's just a fucking monster on the bass. He plays a 6-string, and he's just fucking gnarly. And then we actually just picked up a new guitar player. It's a guy named Axis, and he's from a pretty world famous graffiti crew called CBS out here in America. And but he's also played with bands like Drunk with Power, The Pain, and Biohazard. So the crew that we got now, man, is just on point. And we've got 12 songs coming out July 29th, and we've already written 5 new ones. And we're ready to get it out to the public, man, and see what it has in store for all these psychos out there.
Fuck yeah, mate. That's awesome news. And you pretty much announced the official return of the band with the brutally awesome track Psychified and the video Psycho Up. So why choose those songs to let the world know that you're back?
Well, the Psychified video, if you've watched it, it's got Jay Adams, and Jay Adams was a pretty famous skater out here in Venice, Santa Monica area. And, you know, he's a major guy behind the whole Lords of Dogtown, the movie and the documentary. He was a skater that had no rules, you know. He didn't want to be sponsored. He never did it for the money. He did it for the love of skateboarding and surfing. And we dedicated that song to him. And it's just something that we say, let's get psychified. It's like just going to the edge, you know what I mean? Taking it full stream. If you fall down, you get up. And that was his whole life. And some of the footage in there has actually never been seen footage of him back in the 80s and the 90s, skating and surfing, and some of the contests from the 60s and the 70s when skateboarding wasn't even vertical. And the Z Boys made that go vertical because urethane wheels came out. And it's just something that comes from our hometown, and it's from our heart, and we wanted to share it with everybody.
And as you mentioned, man, like it's been over 30 years since you last released music. So was it easy to get back into the swing of it again?
Yeah, you know, I had never really stopped. I had been in a few bands. Like I said, I was in the Evil, and then I was in like a punk hip hop act. We had a record deal from Hawaiian Records out of Seattle, and we did a tour with Snoop Dogg over in Europe, Germany, France, stuff like that. And I just kind of kept it rolling and did some side projects. So I never really stopped doing it. And, you know, it was more easy for me to get back in the studio because I had been there a bunch of times, and I know what I wanted the music to sound like. And I know how I wanted the tracks to be laid out. And with Nick Jett doing the producing and the engineering on it, he really captured my voice and kind of took me to a place to where I had never been before. And it really, once I figured it out, you know, all these years I couldn't figure it out, man. I just learned on my own. And, you know, it made a lot of sense of how to do choruses and breakdowns and stuff like that. And it worked out really well, man. So we're happy with it. And, it's something that is very true to the heart, and it's what we do. All these songs are behind our life story and what we do. And we got songs like Intentional Transmission that goes against everything the government with the COVID and all this shit. And a lot of bands are probably doing that right now, but we, you know, we explain it as, you know, it's a choice. It shouldn't be forced on anybody.
So as we say, man, like 30 years is a long time, bro. Like I'm sure we both got a few extra gray hairs in that time, man. But how hard,
yeah, for sure.
How hard was it to tap back into that angry side of yourself that was there 30 years ago for this music?
You know, it's like when I hear music, even on the, you know, like some new shit that I hear, man, it makes, you know, the hairs on my arms stand up. And, you know, it brings me back to when I was young and doing backyard parties. And, you know, at first, man, I didn't even turn around to the crowd because I was so, you know, so fucking that, you know, so scared to see the crowd. And my brother was like, turn around, motherfucker, you're the singer. So, you know, I finally did that. And, you know, when I toured a lot with Suicidal over the years, and you know, me and Mike been friends for 30 years, and I would go out there and announce them on tour, and now when they play local, I go out and sing War Inside My Head with them. So I'm pretty used to it, and it's just like riding a bike, man. You just get out there, and I go into a different place. A lot of my tattoo clients, they'll come see me, and they're like, damn, you're such a calm dude when you're tattooing, but when you're fucking on stage, you're like a whole nother person, man. And I just say, you know what? The music takes me there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We spoke about this before, man, but Cycotic Youth first started back in 1983 and released your self-titled album in 85. So what was the music scene like then that gave birth to the band, and where did you fit in?
You know, everything was against government. You know, Reagan was in power, and, you know, a lot of the songs got Reagan in it. A lot of, you know, there's, you know, a few things that happened in America that we sing about. There was a back in a city next to Mexico, there was a guy who came in there before anybody was doing these shootings. It was in a McDonald's. This guy came in there, and some Vietnam vet came in there and shot a bunch of people. So it's called McDonald's Massacre. And you know, one of the words says, all I wanted was a Big Mac, you know. And so it's kind of, we, you know, a lot of the stuff back then was, you know, growing up as a teenager, skating. We had a song called Skate Destroy, you know, situations between girlfriends, and with songs like Don't Fuck With My Head. And it was all like, you know, songs behind growing up, whether, you know, it was, you know, anarchy or let's destroy shit, you know, it was all behind that because we were teenagers, and, you know, we grew up skating and surfing and going to punk rock shows at night. So it all went into flow. It's just a little bit now, a little bit older, you know, like I was telling the one guy, someone goes, hey, you guys call it Cycotic Youth. you guys aren't young anymore. And I'm like, yeah, it should be called Cycotic Youth because we got bad backs now, you know? So, yeah.
You touched on this a bit before, man, but like you're listed as a third generation Z boy in the bio, but on this side of the world, there might be a few people don't actually know what that is. What's the Z boy?
So a Z boy is like, back in the days, right before Urethane Wheels came out, they had a skate team with like Jay Adams, all the Dogtown boys, Jim Muir, Bob Biniak, Shogo Kubo. If you watch the movie, you would see Z Boys was a known skate crew from Santa Monica and Venice called the Zephyr team. So we talk about in skating, if you're from this area, those guys were first generation, and then my older homies, I'm 53, so my guys in the 60s, they're second generation. So I'm a third generation Z boy, and I just get that across because it's a whole lifestyle. And if you looked at it and understood it, and you did see the movie, you would see how what that meant, the culture of skateboarding, how we pretty much created vert skating and empty pool skating back in those days.
Right, very cool. So the band's made its comeback now, which is great, man. But why is now the right time for Cycotic Youth to come back into the world?
We never got a chance to record a second album. The demos, that album is a couple of demos and a couple unreleased tracks. And, I have been trying to do something that I wanted to do for years. And even though we changed it to more of a heavier, polished sound, I would say, and maybe not polished, because everybody is more older now and they're more technical with their instruments. And I'm always, I was always a fan of hardcore, which is basically just metal guitars playing punk rock bands like Madball and bands like Cro-Mags and stuff like that. And I always wanted to do something a little bit heavier, but I wanted to keep it fast, energetic, and just solid. And I figured, you know what? I've been in so many projects. I had the chance to work with Nick Jett, the producer from Terror. And I said, you know what? This is the time to do it. Let's see what we got going. And once we got in the studio, it was a whole new thing for me. So, with the whole COVID going around, we had time to really write and really take it to the next level. And, it's coming out on the 29th, and we're really stoked on it.
Okay. And can you tell us the name of it?
The name of the album is called Psycho Up, actually. So all right. Psycho Up is one of the songs written by my bass player. He's like a Muay Thai MMA guy. And it's just about when you got your back against the wall, you have to act, you have to act instantly, and you have to get psycho where you have to get that feeling in your blood to be able to defend yourself in a good way, not so much being violent, but just, man, it's time to raise your hands up, if it's the fist or if it's your arms raising up, and, speak your words and speak them definitely and speak them loud.
Yeah, cool. Even with the time lapse between the two, mate, would you say the album is a continuation of your self-titled, or is it a new chapter?
This is a whole new chapter, new band. I'm the only original member, but we still got that feeling of the music that comes from this area with bands like Suicidal Tendencies and Beowulf and XL and No Mercy, stuff like that, because you will find that when you listen to our music, if you listen to bands that come from that area, like Uncle Slam, those bands generate a certain sound, and we have that certain sound. Yes, it is original, all original songs, but it creates that sound. Okay, these guys are from that area. You can always tell when there's a hardcore band, okay, these guys are from New York, because there's just that little something in there that has that sound that pushes it to the next level.
So are you going to be heading back out on the road too? Are you going to be a touring band, or are you just taking things one
step? Yeah, right now we're just we just secured management to the Radford Media Group,